second time this season, the Tennessee Titans have trudged into a 4-game losing streak. For the second consecutive season, they're threatening to secure a losing record in November. Blaine Keller, the Titan insider Terry McCormick, and Mark Rogers joining you on another episode of the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast, recapping the Titans' 27-20 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers and getting ready for the NFL trade deadline, which looms on Tuesday afternoon. Terry, felt like in what could have been the final game for a few Titans on Sunday, there were some bright spots and bright moments defensively and on special teams, namely Cody Barton's pick six, as well as Chim Dike's long punt return for a touchdown. But the offense continues to struggle and show more of the same in another anemic performance against LA.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't what you need from the offense in order for this team to succeed. Defense and special teams giving you big bonuses with each of those units scoring in the game, and still not enough to be able to pull out a win. In addition to Cody Barton's interception, the defense took advantage of the Chargers losing both starting tackles, including Joe Alt, and registered 6 sacks in the game. And that wasn't enough either, because the few times that they could not corral Justin Herbert, he burned them for big yardage on scrambles. So, finding another way to lose really has become the theme of this season for the Tennessee Titans. And now you head in toward, as you mentioned, toward the trade deadline, and you wonder if some more parts are going to be sold off the way we've seen with first Jarvis Brownlee and then Roger McCreary.
We're going to talk all of that with Paul Kuharsky of paulkuharsky.com on the other side of this break. Before we let you go, tell you about our friends at the Mint Gaming Hall. Circa Sports, the largest sportsbook in Kentucky, is now open for business at the Mint Gaming Hall in Franklin, Kentucky. With an 80-foot sportsbook screen and stadium-style seating, the Mint's the place to be for college football, the NFL, and all other sports. Circa Sports and the Mint are proud sponsors of our show. You're watching the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast on Mainstream Media Television.
The winning just got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Deep in a forest at Nashville Zoo, new creatures here for you to view. Phantoms graced in black and white swing high in trees of dappled light. In rocky crags, tall and steep, small antelopes with nimble feet. A wise old man with beard of white, a sentry perched on stony height. Amidst it all, a hunter lies, with coat of gold and steely eyes. A new adventure just for you. Leopard Forest at Nashville Zoo. Open now.
He shoots, and he scores!
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
If you want the latest in weather conditions, be sure to tune in to our Busy Bee Plumbing weather report each weekday on Mornings on Main Street. Brought to you, of course, by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning. We will keep you updated on the latest conditions outside, like severe weather, heat, snow, rain, and even hail.
Back in on the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast, Blaine Keller, Terry McCormick joining you with Paul Kuharsky now, talking about the Titans' misfortunes so far this season. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. There he is.
There we go. All right.
Hi,
Paul
fellas.
How you doing? Paul, I'm not going to mince words. I'm going to jump right in here, and I want to get your take on this. Couple of points I want to make. First of all, I don't think Cam Ward is as far along in his development as I expected a number one overall pick to be. I think that some of that comes from the fact that he looks far more unpolished. Not saying he's not talented, because I think he has some talent, but I think he's far more unpolished than most number one overall picks entering the league. And then second of all, and I want your opinion on this, most of the really top-level quarterbacks have at least one superpower. It could be Joe Burrow with his accuracy. It could be the complete package that's Patrick Mahomes, or the running of Lamar Jackson that carried him until he became a better passer. With Baker Mayfield, it's not the physical talents, but it's his ability to be clutch and deliver big throws when you need it most. Does Cam Ward possess a superpower? And if he does, what is it?
He's definitely unpolished. I think bouncing around in college from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami. He never had that consistent coaching. That's one of the reasons he kind of made a plea for consistency in Tennessee. And it's unfortunate that the Brian Callahan thing didn't work out for him. And I think there's a little bit of a conflict because what I'm going to get into is his superpower, which are kind of off-script plays, don't require the technical finesse that they're looking for from him. And I think maybe subconsciously he knows that, when he rolls far to the right and throws back across the field to Eli Manor and makes a huge play, the footwork is not hugely important in that. But the footwork is hugely important on 2nd and 8 when he's finding a receiver that's not that far downfield on a second read. And those are the technical things that need to get a lot cleaner and sharper, and that probably have more work to do with him than most teams have to do with the first-round quarterback. I think the superpower is that the kind of off-script big moments. We haven't seen as many as you would like, but when we see them, they can be pretty spectacular. And if they come as a mix of in more standard success, I think they'll really be something to behold, presuming that he gets to the more standard kind of base level in the pocket success that everybody wants to see from him.
Cam Ward finished 12 of 21, 145 yards against the Chargers, had 4 sacks, credited with 2 fumbles. The Titans recovered both of them. Paul, the 3 phases that the Titans have right now, Denard Wilson's making the most of what he has with a depleted unit defensively. Bones Fossil still continuing to show success in special teams. But with Cam Ward and this offense, I know there's been a lot of changes, but why does it still feel like this unit is so far behind those other 2?
Well, just with your premise, I want to be clear and not over credit. I mean, the defense was really good with the 6 sacks yesterday, but Herbert, Terry mentioned this early, had a lot of success running, and they give up 99-yard drive at a crucial point in the game where the offense said, look, we're going to go for it here on 4th and 1. If we don't score, we've got them pinned and we'll be in good shape. And that's not at all what happened. And I don't think Johnny Hecker's punting well. And the Titans special teams are the most penalized special teams unit in the league. So I think Fossil's buying himself a lot from Chim DK turning into a great returner and the coverage being better, but there's still some big issues on special teams. Now, the offense, that said, is significantly worse. I mean, when you're outscored by both your defense and your special teams, and you can only put up 6 points. They crossed midfield 5 times yesterday and got 6 points to show for it. They just can't sustain anything offensively. And then they look for stuff that just doesn't work. It was only 3 snaps, only 2 of them counted, but crucial snaps where they go to the wildcat direct snap to the running back, which produces 0 yards, ill-timed flea flicker that's not well executed. It's just a disjointed offense that, and then they've got one good thing going, since Mike McCoy and Cam Ward's played better, but DK has been a good player in a couple games since then. And yesterday they targeted him three times? Like, why would you get away from that? It doesn't seem they're even able to build on simple chips that they should be able to stack on. And the pass distribution, I don't have a huge issue with where the ball went and where the ball didn't per se. But, they don't have enough throws there. They don't sustain enough offense to be able to get the ball to the people they need to get the ball to.
Obviously, this team is in a coaching search, or will be in that mode at the end of the season. And it might be a little bit tough, given Amy Adams-Strunk's impulsiveness, to lure the best candidate here that they might need. And also on top of that, if the coach doesn't have any more say in matters than it seems like Brian Callahan did, that's also another strike against you. Now, that said, what type of coach are you looking for to get the most out of Cam Ward and improve this roster?
Well, I don't think it needs to be a certain type of coach. I think it'd be a fail for them to say we're looking for X. The way very clearly with Brian Callahan, they were looking for an offensive quarterback guy. And look, that was a failed hire. It was a failed result. I don't think it was a terrible hire. At the time, nobody was saying this is a huge mistake. Those critics were very few. I think the league thought it was a good hire. I think locally we thought it was a good hire. It just, kind of Titans' luck that it didn't pan out to such a extreme degree. Whoever it is, and I'd be all right if they hired a defensive head coach, provided he brought good offensive people with him. More towards the leader of men quality that Mike Vrabel had. And a better CEO. I felt like Brian Callahan kind of felt like he graduated when he got the play calling duties, and that was his big thing. And he wasn't a good enough. Well, he wasn't a good enough play caller for starters, but he wasn't a good enough head coach for sure. So I'd like to see somebody that probably had head coaching experience. I like the Robert Saleh idea. But I'm not positive about that. I think they need to have a wide net, talk to a lot of people. I know we've heard stories before about Amy tiring out during a long process. I don't want to hear any of that. I'd like her not to be involved to as big a degree as possible, and for Borgonzi to really be in control. But hear as much as you can from as many people as you can about what they should do with Cam Ward, to get as much data as you can while you're sorting through it to find the right guy.
And to piggyback off of that, obviously when they hired Brian Callahan, job one for him was he was supposed to develop Will Levis and turn him in from a prospect who had some talent and some tools into an NFL quarterback. And it really backfired disastrously, because really the type of quarterback Levis was, a play action, vertical, deep thrower, was not the type of quarterback that Callahan's system fits. To my way of thinking, one, I don't want the coach him to try and maximize what he can get out of Cam Ward, but I don't want him completely tied to Cam Ward, that if Cam Ward doesn't work, but this guy is doing a decent enough job, that he gets canned because he can't develop him. And kind of to that effect, it just seems like that when you pigeonhole it that way, you're also limiting what it is that you can get out of a head coach.
Yeah, well, I think the Titans' constant habit of staggering everything. A coach gets two quarterbacks, a GM gets two coaches, nothing's aligned contractually in the front office, nothing's aligned timetable wise with coach and player, and it's just not the healthiest way to do things. All you can do now when you're at this point is the best you can. But this coach comes in looking to make the most out of Cam Ward, but barring a huge inability to win games if somehow Cam Ward doesn't pan out. And I think he's got a skill set and a mindset that he can be a top 15 quarterback in the league, and that you should be able to be a functional, competitive organization with the top 15 quarterback in the league. But if that doesn't pan out, but the coach still wins some games, that he'd be in line to help the organization choose the next quarterback after that. And it was that way with Callahan, obviously on a very short time frame, 2-year time frame. He got to inherit a quarterback and then help choose a second quarterback. That'd be the way to go. But obviously it would have been, in hindsight, healthier for the new coach to help be involved in the choosing of Cam Ward or in going a different direction. And then for things to be hyper aligned, which is just not how the Titans do things.
Paul, looking at the rest of this season, the roster could look a little bit different in a couple of days with the NFL trade deadline coming up. A handful of players have been rumored, and it's hard to speculate, but which of those bunch do you think are likely to be shipped off after Jarvis Brownlee and Roger McCreary, which are likely to stay for the rest of this year?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a ton of action. I think, and people will be listening to this after the Titans make 6 trades and I'll look dumb. But, I just don't think they have a ton of appeal or are going to get the kind of returns that they're looking for. You take Draymond Jones out of this mix now when they finally got something going. I don't know. Can you get a 5th for Draymond Jones at least? I would probably do that. A conditional 5th that could turn into a 4th would be terrific. I don't know though. Tony Pollard, had a nice game against the Chargers. Is he a guy that's going to really help somebody's run game? To give up much, I sure wouldn't. Arden Key, has been hurt. Ward, Chig Okonkwo, to me, has been underused by a system that he should be really more featured in, by a team that brought him up. That would put up red flags for me. And I don't think they've gotten a lot of phone calls about him. So I don't know that the Titans are going to look dramatically different after the bye based on people coming and taking players they'd like to give up to get draft picks. And they're not going to, I don't think, do much more in exchange for pick swaps. They need to add numbers in the draft. So if they can add a couple numbers and it's at the detriment of the roster right now that's not winning games, have at it.
Paul, one final thing from me here as we go forward. And this is going to be a broad encompassing question here, but what would be the 3 main things you would do to try and fix this team and have them competitive by the time they get into the new stadium in 2027?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it in the top 3 draft needs by any chance, by any means. But I think you got to reestablish the run game with somebody that's got some significant juice. And no matter what's going on with that offensive line, which just can't come together, somebody that can let you rely on the run and can get you into reasonable down and distances with early down runs that can establish kind of the pacing of the offense, put you in position not to ask too much of Cam Ward, running back with juice. And you got to find him in the fourth round or something like that. I want the first 3 picks. I think you've got to address edge, receiver, and cornerback. I think unquestionably, which means that the offensive line is going to stay constructed as it is, unless you're bringing in a free agent or and Jackson Slater's probably inheriting center or right guard. And I think they should probably be done with Cushenberry and with Zeitler. So those are my 3 draft picks. Running back is a position there. And then I mean, they've got to find some kind of identity. That running back is maybe the start of it to me, but I want a coach that comes in and really gives them some sort of branding. That was easier for Mike Vrabel because Derrick Henry was in-house. But something beyond the, physical, aggressive football team, some kind of identity that goes beyond a basic stamp and can be a recognizable Tennessee Titans brand of football.
Paul, we appreciate your insight. Thanks for so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you back out there for some pressers and some games after the bye week.
Good to be with you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay. Continue the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast after this on Main Street Media Television.
The winning just got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer. He shoots, and he scores!
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Deep in a forest at Nashville Zoo, new creatures here for you to view. Phantoms graced in black and white swing high in trees of dappled light. In rocky crags, tall and steep, small antelopes with nimble feet. A wise old man with beard of white, a sentry perched on stony height. Amidst it all, a hunter lies, with coat of gold and steely eyes. A new adventure just for you. Leopard Forest at Nashville Zoo. Open now.
Hi, I'm Joseph Burgoyne, Chef Tornado of the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come see us at Kitchen Notes.
Our Titans Stock Report is brought to you by the Mint Gaming Hall and all of its many amenities. Check out Iron Steakhouse, the Corner Cafe, and Spring Hill Suites, all at the Mint in Franklin, Kentucky. just north of Nashville off I-65 North and exit 121. Thank you again to the Mint for sponsoring our show and our stock report. Terry, start us off.
All right, stock up. I'm going to go with Jihad Ward and Draymond Jones, both very active yesterday, especially after the Chargers' two starting tackles, Joe Alt and Bobby Hart, both succumbed to injuries. And I think they were very active. They had combined 4 of the 6 sacks that the defense produced yesterday. So I'm going to go with those guys as my stock up.
Give a stock up to Cody Barton, who had some struggling plays here recently for the Titans, had not shown kind of what he maybe had at the beginning of the season. I thought he had a strong debut. He's a good vocal linebacker for the Titans. Felt like his play dipped a little bit until this week with the pick 6 to start the game, catching everybody by surprise. And the note of the day from that was that the 7-point lead that the Titans take there, Terry, was their largest of the season.
Yeah, that kind of tells you all you need to know right there, that they've not led anyone by more than 1 score this season. Blaine, what you got in a stock down?
Yeah, I said something similar to Paul here. I felt better. I know there have been struggles and sins with the defense and the special teams still, but given the things surrounding those units, you saw some scores, which is something that the offense couldn't get done yesterday. Just sat a yard away from getting a touchdown. But as was mentioned earlier on this show, the Titans offense could not outscore the Chargers, could not score its own defense or special teams. So it felt like a pretty low moment there for the offense and for a lot of different pieces surrounding it, including Cam Ward.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that, and I'm going to say that the play calling is a stock down because, the 3 times they attempted the Wildcat, it gained 0 yards on all 3 attempts. And in fact, one of those actually was voided by a holding penalty. Just, poorly designed, poorly executed plays there, it looked like. And then to have 2 shots at it from the 1-yard line and not be able to punch it in, once trying it with the Wildcat, once trying it with the traditional handoff. Get a little bit creative down there. If you look at the photo that Angie Flatt sent me, I haven't put it out yet, but on the 4th down play where they hand the ball to Pollard, everyone is in there. Cam Ward has peeled off to the side after making the handoff. Had they faked it to Tony Pollard and let Cam Ward roll it out, he could have walked into the end zone.
It's indicative, too, because the Chargers had a handful of similar plays where they were faced with 3rd and 1 or even 4th and 1 throughout this game late. They pull out the tush push. A lot of people not a fan of that play, but it worked. It worked so many times for the Chargers, and had the Titans done it once, how much differently does this game pan out? I'm not sure, but maybe we're talking a little bit better about the Titans offense overall.
Sure. If you get 1 offensive touchdown in that game, it ties the game. And even if you lose in overtime or you lose on a last-second field goal, you're at least somewhat encouraged that you played complimentary football all the way around. As it is, you got 2 out of 3. And with apologies to Meatloaf saying 2 out of 3 ain't bad, that 3rd part was really bad. Really bad.
Speaking of Meatloaf, Terry, to close us out, finish this sentence. The Titan most likely to be traded before Tuesday's deadline is...
Wow, you're wanting me to say T'Vondre Sweat, and that's a possibility. But I'm going to say Tony Pollard.
I'll give it to Chigakonkwo, given his comments more or less at the end of the game in the locker room. Be sure to check out Titan Insider for that, as well as all of our coverage from Sunday and this week. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast.